And
where's she sitting? Why are you sitting like that?
We're rocking. All right. Unfortunate for LSU baseball. They take the L in the SEC championship game, but they got there. Won 7 straight games before falling to Tennessee 4-3 in the final. Almost made a run. Almost.
I thought we were going to pull it off there at the end. Yeah,
but there were some big moments in that one that really kind of screwed it a little bit. They are now 40-21 on the season. They have locked in a spot for regionals. We'll talk about where we think they could go. Some predictions from some of the big college baseball outlets. But first, overall thoughts on SEC tournament performance.
Incredible. I think
where has this been?
I don't know. We've kind of seen it in the last 4 or 5 weekends. They've won They won their last 4 out of the 5 series, or 5 out of 6 or something like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was there. I think this was just on a bigger scale, right? On a bigger stage, playing better teams. You have an opportunity to play Kentucky, who's number 2 in the country. They were right there at the end with number 1 in the country, Tennessee, probably going to be the number 1 overall seed in the tournament coming up tomorrow. And then, you just saw them rise into the occasion. I think they're getting hot at the right time. We talked about this and joked about it, right? It's the LSU Invitational, or the Go Tiger Invitational. I don't know. It's something like we've won the most SEC tournament titles. It's just something that LSU performs at Hoover. And I think this team understood the importance of going there and winning some of these games, helping out their RPI, their KPI, whatever the hell that is now. But yeah, no, it's I think it was, I think it's been there, and they're getting hot at the right time and they're doing the right thing. So I'm looking forward to where they're seated tomorrow. It's going to be fun.
Hey, Mom. Thanks for tuning in. Before we talk about today's game, I do want to talk about yesterday's game because there was controversy. It took 18 minutes to figure out whether that call was correct or not. Brady Neal stepped in front of the plate whenever South Carolina was trying to steal home. There was a long hiatus of whether that was illegal or not, and they came back, ruled against LSU. And then you have the events unfold where Stephen Milam hits a bomb, walks it off, and says, "Ball don't lie." So kind of a storybook moment, especially to see Michael Braswell beat his team not once this week, but twice, his old team.
Yep.
To see guys step up. Milam, I don't know how many home runs he's had on the season. That's not been his MO.
Yeah.
He's come in clutch a couple times, but to hit a walk-off like that, and Jay's ejected earlier in the game, seeing him run out of the dugout and kind of the energy that they had was a huge deal. And then to see the grit, they were down 8-0.
Yeah, that was wild.
Early.
Yeah.
And then to put up 6 in the 4th, I think it was.
Yeah, we were watching it here, and I was like, there's no way that they get run ruled, huh? Like you literally are thinking that the way the game was going. It was pretty ugly for a second. But yeah, no. I mean, that's kind of the fight with this team. And you really, I was kind of joking about it in here, but you kind of knew they were going to come back in that game. I didn't know if they were going to come back and win, honestly, because you're down 8-0. That's a pretty steep climb. But you knew they were going to make it a game, probably the way the first South Carolina game went. Both teams are, kind of strategically using their pitching depending on how they get into the tournament, and things like that. So there was going to be a lot of runs. So
it looked like they kind of fell into the old LSU baseball team that we saw earlier in the season, and then they kind of snapped out of it. I think that's a lot to do with leadership. I was listening to ESPN, maybe something earlier about Tommy White's role, how he's really stepped into a leadership role later in the season. He didn't necessarily kind of embody that completely from the beginning until he was like, I don't want to take this jersey off. Like, let's go figure it out. And he's cool. I heard Jared Jones had a 3-0 count and they gave him the go ahead to swing and he didn't.
Yeah.
Like down the middle, and Tommy White was on the top step, like screaming like, yo, bro, swing at that. Like getting on people, like really, really kind of stepping into the veteran role. And I think you've seen that translate into how the team is playing now. So that's cool to see, just some insight there.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so they had 9 pitchers go yesterday. Pitching in the SEC tournament, you're fighting for a spot in regionals. You see Gage go in the first game, Luke go in the second game, and then you're kind of pulling out of the bullpen for the rest of the week. But 9 guys yesterday. What? Why?
I don't know. It's Jay's thing, I guess. Like he loves doing that. And I think it's not just Jay. You've seen it all over. It's why we're having 4-hour games and stuff like that. It's absolutely miserable. But from a fan's perspective, I think I'm just like, dude, this is taking way too long. But that's what the analytics say. The analytics say, limit the amount of times that a certain guy sees the bat, through the lineup and things like that. How many times each batter sees each pitcher. Certain pitchers do better when they only face a guy once. Obviously. So. That's kind of what the analytics say, and that's what I think they're going with. And obviously, then this tournament is important, and it helps the RPI and the wins and all that kind of stuff, right? But also, you have a regional coming up next weekend for both teams. So most teams that are in this tournament are going to a regional, right? So you guys they're strategically using pitchers. They're not overusing guys. Some guys are just getting some work in. It's an interesting concept, and it's funny how you see different teams approach the SEC tournament, especially because it starts on a Tuesday, after a weekend, you only have 1 or 2 days off, and then you got to kind of get ready for that next weekend following. So, it's interesting, but yeah, I'm excited to see what kind of comes out next weekend and how the regionals play out.
So Nate started today. Ackenhausen did pretty well. You told me that they did an interview with him on the stream, or did an interview with Jay Johnson on the stream, and kind of asked him how long Nate was going to go, and he responded with what?
He basically said he was going through the lineup one time. So Nate dominated. I think he had 6 or 7 strikeouts through the lineup and everything. He was so lights on. He was throwing 93, 94. The dude was pumped up. Probably the best I'd seen him look all year too. But Jay was like, man, I would love to keep him out there, but we have bigger. Basically, I think what he said, quote unquote, was we have bigger things to worry about next weekend. Not that this wasn't a big game, because it obviously is, right? But he was just saying, like, those are the games that matter to get you to Omaha and things like that. This is fun. This is nice to add to the resume and things like that. But I think he was saying, like, hey, we need Nate to be sharp for next Friday, so we don't want to overuse him if we need to get him out of the pen on Friday. So, I don't think he was using him as a true starter in this game, and just kind of trying to get through the lineup as quick as he could, and he did a great job. So just unfortunate the way things went with Ulola, and he came in and kind of just didn't look the same way he did last outing. And gave up that 3-run homer, which was tough, and obviously kind of put us behind for the whole game. But Nate did a great job, and I think all our other guys, did a good job. Hopefully Christian Little's okay. He kind of left the game. I didn't have the TV on super loud here. We were open in the shop, so but it looked like he had a cramp or something like that. I'm hoping it's just something there.
Just a cramp, yeah.
It didn't look good though. Hopefully it's not an oblique, the way he was kind of grabbing at it and the way he fell off. But we'll see. I'm sure some reports will come out soon.
We talked about Thatcher Hurd last week, how he kind of changes form in postseason. At least that's what we saw last year. However, we saw him in this tournament, and that wasn't necessarily the case. We didn't see him turn into the Thatcher Hurd we saw last year. Is that an SEC tournament? Do we think it's when regionals is when he pops up? Or was it a fluke last year? And I don't mean that. I don't know.
That's unfair. Yeah. I think that's unfair to say about him. That he didn't show up. It was a tough draw where the start that he got. Again, he's got to be sharp, and he's only going to be going 2 or 3 innings. I think what we saw out of him in the championship game last year maybe set the bar kind of high for him. I'm just being honest, because I don't know if he's a starter right now. And that's, he started that game and it was the last game of the year, right? It was like, hey, we need you to win. We need you to go as long as you can. And that's what he did. So in that game, you kind of like just let him roll out because you have nothing to lose. But when he's kind of a reliever and he has a certain role, I think Jay kind of had a certain pitch count in mind and how the game was going to go, when he started the game against South Carolina. And when it didn't go necessarily as planned, it was like quick leash, that kind of stuff. And today he didn't look bad. I thought he looked pretty solid. He only gave up 1 run. And they strung a couple hits together, but that's a really good Tennessee team too. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, like I said, the stuff is there for Thatcher. I think it's between the ears, and hopefully he kind of gets it right and has that confidence for the postseason.
Big moment today. That kind of the 3-run bomb that Fidel gave up was obviously a momentum shift, but you have bases loaded in the bottom of the 6th, 2 outs. Milam gets picked off at first. How big?
Was it the 6th or was it the 7th? I thought it was later than that. Was it the 6th?
I think it was the 6th. Okay. Yeah, but how big is that? It can't
happen. Like, it literally can't happen. Like, I know he hit the home run last game, and he's a freshman, but like at this point in the season, you got to know better than that. Like, I don't care that there was a shift on and the first baseman wasn't in the picture. You got to be aware. You constantly have to be looking behind you to make sure that does not happen. I understand he was trying to get a big lead in case there was a ball in the gap and you want to score the go-ahead run, right? But you can't do that. That can't happen. He took the bat out of, who was it? Ethan Fry came up right to pinch it, I think. You can't do that. That like absolutely killed all the momentum that we had at that time. Bases loaded. But yeah, that was really unfortunate. That was tough.
Bold statement here. I think if that doesn't happen, LSU wins this game. And
Wow.
I hate to say, bases loaded.
You're just assuming we're just going to get a hit.
I'm just saying. I do
Okay,
actually.
yeah,
I think
that's
with
good.
the way that the bottom of the lineup came through in the bottom of the ninth, and they almost did it. I truly think that that's the same part of the lineup that was up after Milam.
No, it's not. You're not wrong.
You don't have icing yourself for the next inning, but if you allow it to keep going, momentum to build, I think you get a hit there, and then LSU's tied or maybe ahead. Not to put the blame. I mean, it's
Milam had a big enough lead to go ahead, so hopefully,
Well,
I think that's what he was going for too.
Okay, so SEC tournament's over. That essentially just locked in LSU to be in a regional to continue in the postseason. Projections here, I have them on my phone. I'll read them out, and then we'll kind of talk about what we think is going to happen.
Yeah, Sydney asked in the chat. Sorry.
How do y'all feel about the upcoming chat?
I know I got to be in here.
How do y'all feel about the upcoming regionals we have coming up? Let's get into that. So D1 Baseball and 247 Sports have LSU predicted to go to Norman, Oklahoma, as the 2 seed with Oklahoma, Oregon, and Missouri State. Baseball America has them going to Stillwater with Oklahoma State as the 2 seed again, Oregon, and Niagara. And then 1-3 has them in the Clemson Regional with Clemson, James Madison, and High Point. LSU as the 2 seed again.
Sheesh, I feel like that would be tough. I don't like that.
Clemson Regional?
Yeah, Clemson's like a top 5. I think they're a top 5. I think they haven't projected 6 there is what it says. Yeah, that's a top 5 team. That's a tough draw for LSU, I feel like. But I think most teams, nobody wants LSU in their regional right now.
No.
So
that leads to my next question. Does this continue? We see them get hot on a random Tuesday in May. They go out in the SEC championship game. They win 7 games in a row. They're heating up. Offense is on. Pitching is on. Everybody's stepping up. Does this continue in a regional?
I hope so. I don't know. I mean, honestly, like this game, I think really determined that for me. I was trying, if they pulled this out, especially the way they were doing it there, I would have been like, dude, we're winning the national championship. But I think even just showing that in the 9th inning shows where we're at, where we like LSU believes, like they genuinely believe they should win every game right now. They're playing well. The right people are stepping up. It seems like that kind of thing, right? I've always told you, like when we won the national championship that year, it was like we looked down the dugout, where were we at in the lineup? It was like, who's going to be the hero today? Right. It kind of feels like that every time, like the 9th inning rolled around. I was like, we're really going to do this. This is crazy. And it was like storybook shit where Milazzo comes up to the plate. Yeah. He's kind of that like senior leader that everybody loves. I saw him all over social media. Barstool's like posting about him. Yeah. Like he's kind of like that idol. And I was like, this feels so right. Like this is going to happen type thing. And I just kind of visualized him punching a ball over the second baseman's head for a game tying, run, that kind of stuff. And then maybe scoring that winning run, especially after last year, after he breaks his leg and has to get, or shin or whatever. Yeah. So I thought it was happening, but I hope it continues. I really do. I think winning this game would have been absolutely huge for that momentum, But I do think that I just think their performance and even the way they kind of finished that 9th inning, if they went 3 up, 3 down, it would have been like, all right, damn, like that was a good run. It was fun. But even that gave, I think, life into people where like, dude, we have all the momentum. We have it all, like type thing.
It's kind of like not unfinished business, but had they won that game, it's kind of like a notch in your belt. They haven't gotten that yet. They got close to it. They didn't get the championship title. So they still kind of like, I feel like they continue to ride that momentum out, feeling like they almost have to continue to prove themselves because they didn't win the whole tournament and they didn't go 8-0 in the week. And
I like that.
Like turn it around, look at it from a different perspective. It might be a good thing to have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. Like, damn, we almost did it. We were right there. Let's keep it going.
Let's go finish it.
Yeah, let's go finish this.
No, I think they have their eyes on a bigger prize anyway, too. I think, like I said, that was going to be really fun and something to add to the resume. But I think Jay really emphasizes how important the regionals, super regionals are. And this was like getting them ready. And I think it just is a huge confidence booster for them. So I'm excited to see what draw they get tomorrow and where they're going. It'll be a lot of fun, and I'll be anxious to see kind of what kind of matchups they have and how Jay plays that out. But like I said, I really believe that we have a great 1-2 punch. So if we can somehow put things together, if he starts Cade Anderson, I really did.
What were your thoughts on Cade?
Dude, I don't even want to start. I don't understand how the kid doesn't get a start. I don't get it. There's something that I don't know clearly, because it just doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense. I don't know why we're using him for like one batter out of the bullpen. Like it just doesn't make sense. So I'm not even going to get going on it. But I do believe we are set up to win game 1 in the regional, and then we'll face the 1 seed. And I do think that Holman or Gage, however he plays it, I do think it'll probably be Holman. But like, that's what I'm saying is, like, you tell me, you give me Luke Holman versus one of those teams, and in one game, like a winner take all, I'm like, give me that. And then the way that they have played, where Jay has analytically put multiple pitchers in, and we have scored, and shown that we can hang with hitting other teams 2 and 3 pitchers and number 4 pitchers. I like it. I'm with it. I think we have a good chance in a regional. I really do. If we get to a regional, I think we win a super regional like easier than we win a regional. I really do. I believe that.
If we get through a regional,
I do. You think? Yeah, because we have I like us
in a 3-game series.
In a 3-game series against a team where you have to win 2 out of 3 with Gage and Holman. Like, I really do. Like, that's where I'm like, get us to a super. We're going to Omaha. That's what I believe. So I think the regional is going to be actually harder than the super, because we're going to have to win 3 games, maybe 4, right. Or play maybe 4 games. Because if you lose, so if you win your first 2, you'll play the 1 seed again, probably, right? And they'll have to beat you twice. And chances are they'll probably win a game in there, right? Hopefully not. Hopefully they take 3 right in a row. But at some point, you're probably going to have to play a 4th game, which means that you're just using more pitching, right? And that kind of stuff. And so that'll be tough. But I mean, if you sweep all 3, that's great. But
look, I know we say we have a 1-2 punch, but they've showed this week that they've got pitching.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. I think we have. I think there's a lot of confidence there in a lot of guys in different roles. Even if it's like we're saying, starting Sam Dutton for 2 innings, or putting Thatcher out there for 2 or 3 innings, and then piecing it together, like
stringing it.
Yeah, as long as the bats come to play and like we can hit their number 3 and number 4 pitchers, like we're going to be in a good position. So
happy with the performance this week. I think all of the LSU fan base is. People are fired up. I think not only did they prove it to us, but they almost proved it to themselves of like, we are so capable of doing this.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
On both sides of the ball. And it looked like they found kind of a rhythm that we haven't seen this entire season. Starting on Tuesday, they figured it out. And, everybody's pulling on the same end of the rope, which you like to say. So I'm confident, regardless of what regional, and they find out tomorrow. All of the selection shows happen tomorrow. But I'm pretty confident that the momentum we saw this week continues into next weekend. Now, do we see a little bit, maybe some hiccups here and there? I think so. Just because you're taking, after playing day after day after day, they had 1 day off on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Friday,
I think, yeah.
I don't know what day it is. But I think you might see a little bit.
Thursday, off Friday, played Saturday, Sunday. I think, right? So
you're playing essentially every day, which helps kind of work out the kinks, get things going. So now you're taking a week off from gameplay at least. So maybe you see a few hiccups, but I think they'll quickly get back into that rhythm. They liked how it feels, kind of like muscle memory. Like, okay, we did this last week. Let's do it again this weekend. I think we see that whatever regional they're placed in.
Yeah, I hope it's. So a couple of them were Stillwater or Oklahoma, right? Those are going to be a lot easier for LSU fans to travel to too. So that's where there was one over the week, like in the previous week, saying we were going to Santa Barbara, California. I'm like, no, don't send us out there. Like, I want the fans to be able to get in a car and drive 6 hours or 7 hours, go to Oklahoma. That's way more attainable for more people. Yeah. And there's a lot of hype around the team right now where kids are out of school, right? And they're like, just like what you did, like just go get in the car and ride and just go be a fan for a couple of days and have a weekend in a different college town. So I like the chances if we're in Oklahoma, Stillwater. I saw somewhere that there were maybe Florida State. Again, give LSU fans a reason to travel. But Clemson, Santa Barbara, that scares me a little bit. That's a little further.
Honestly, though, look at softball in California right now. Yeah. They're in supers playing Stanford. Yeah. Game 3 tonight. Winner go home. 8:30. Watch it. But the fans out there are full blown. It's full blown LSU. Yeah. So we know that LSU fans travel. But I do agree with you. If it's closer, I think more people will go. Yeah, and I think that just creates a little bit more hype around it. So I hope it's closer. I really do. All right, that's about all we got. Good run in the SEC tournament. We'll wait for tomorrow to see where LSU will be going next weekend. Hopefully they come out of regionals and make it to supers and maybe even Omaha. The momentum is there. Can they keep it going?
Like I said, if we win a regional, I think we go to Omaha. I really do. I don't care who we're playing anywhere in the country. I'm serious. I really believe that. And if we get lucky, we host one. That would be awesome. Like if our matchup loses.
What are the odds that LSU is hosting a Super?
It could happen. It could happen. You just got to hope that the people that you're matched up with can lose their regional, and then maybe you're a higher seed than the other people to host a Super. It could happen.
Wow, the answers have changed so drastically over the weeks, rightfully so, because this was not the LSU baseball team we were covering 3 weeks ago.
No.
When I asked what the odds were to host anything. But LSU does make some money hosting things. So if they can give the NCAA a reason for us to host, I think they will.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just in the rules, the way certain certain
too.
seating and stuff like that. If somebody loses, like it's the lower seed, it just depends on where we're seated and all that stuff. I'll be really anxious to see how they seed us tomorrow after not winning this game. But if we would have won it, I would have been like, damn, we're going to be a high 2 seed. So
do you think there's any shot that we're a 3 seed?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty confident.
I don't know.
I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know the difference, and I'm not educated enough. I shouldn't say that, but I don't think so. I think we're a true 2 seed right now, the way we're playing, and the committee decides that. So I don't think it's truly analytical. But even so, we are. I think I saw that we bumped our RPI up 10 spots. We're like RPI 20 now. So like again, we're right outside that top 16 of hosting regionals. So it's not like we'll be a top 20 seed, probably top 25 seed. So we'll see.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. We will make sure y'all subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. We like to post graphics out there. We'll have one ready to go when they announce what regional LSU is in. And we'll keep y'all updated with softball too and across the board. So make sure you subscribe, go follow us. We appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all soon.